Welcome to the Cryptic Mystic Vault, where we delve deep into the world's most influential events and organizations. Today, we set our sights on the World Economic Forum, commonly referred to as the WF. Every year, a small town in Switzerland named Davos becomes the epicenter of global policy discussions, as it hosts the annual meeting of the WF. This gathering is more than a mere conference. It's a melting pot of ideas, where the world's most influential leaders in business, politics, academia, and even entertainment converge to discuss and shape the future of our global economy. On the surface, the WEF's mission is to improve the state of the world by fostering public-private cooperation. But is that all there is to it? Or is there more than meets the eye? As we peel back the layers, we discover that the WEF plays a much larger role in global affairs than one might initially think. The influence of the WEF extends far beyond its annual meeting in Davos. It serves as a global platform for dialogue, shaping international policies and governance strategies. While the public face of the forum is one of open discussion and cooperation between world leaders, there's a lot more happening behind the scenes. The WEF is not just a talk shop, it's a power broker. Its annual meeting in Davos is a hotbed of private meetings and discussions among global decision-makers. These closed-door sessions are where the real work happens, where the world's most influential figures hash out strategies and plans that could influence the trajectory of global economics and politics. But what exactly are these lesser publicized agendas or objectives? Some say these discussions revolve around global economic stability, climate change, and technological advancements. Others suggest more controversial topics are debated, including geopolitical strategies, corporate influence over policymaking, and the distribution of global wealth. The WEF's role is to facilitate these discussions, but it also has its own objectives. These can sometimes align with, or diverge from, the publicly stated goals of the forum. For example, while the WEF promotes economic cooperation and sustainable development, it also stands accused of advancing a globalist agenda that favors the interests of multinational corporations and the economic elite. The WEF's influence is not without controversy. Critics argue that the forum lacks transparency, with the majority of its discussions taking place behind closed doors. This secrecy fuels speculations about influence peddling and elitism, with decisions affecting billions of lives made by a select few. But it's important to remember that the WEF doesn't have any formal power to enforce its decisions. It can't dictate policy or impose regulations. Its power lies in its ability to shape the agenda and influence the discourse. The forum provides a space where ideas can be exchanged, alliances formed, and consensus built. These behind-the-scenes discussions can have far-reaching implications for global economic and political strategies. So, whether we agree with its methods or not, the World Economic Forum plays a pivotal role in shaping our global future. However, the WEF is not without its share of criticism and controversy. As we peel back the layers of the World Economic Forum, we find a myriad of criticisms that challenge its stated goals and methods. One of the most prominent among these is the allegation of elitism. With its high-profile attendees and exclusive guest list, the WEF has been accused of being a rich man's club, where the world's wealthiest and most influential individuals meet to shape policies that serve their interests. This perception of elitism has led to questions about the legitimacy and fairness of the decisions made at Davos. Adding fuel to the fire is the issue of transparency, or rather, the lack thereof. Many of the discussions and meetings at Davos occur behind closed doors, away from the public eye. Critics argue that this lack of transparency creates an environment ripe for influence peddling, where powerful entities can push their agendas without public scrutiny. But how do these criticisms affect public perception and the legitimacy of the Davos meetings? Well, they certainly cast a shadow of doubt. The accusations of elitism and lack of transparency lead many to question whether the WEF is truly a platform for improving the state of the world, or simply a tool for the powerful to maintain their grip on global affairs. The impact of these criticisms goes beyond public sentiment. They also call into question the effectiveness and validity of the policies and strategies that emerge from Davos. If these policies are indeed shaped by a select few, for their own benefit, then the WEF's influence on global governance could be seen as skewed and potentially detrimental to the wider global community. This brings us to a critical contemplation. Does the WEF benefit a few at the expense of many? It's a question that cannot be answered definitively, as perspectives vary based on one's position and understanding of global affairs. However, it is a question that we must continue to ask as we navigate the complex world of global policy and governance. The question remains whether the WEF benefits a few at the expense of many. The influence of the World Economic Forum is expansive and far-reaching. This statement encapsulates the essence of our discussion today. We've journeyed through the high-stakes world of the WEF, from its role in shaping global policy to the private discussions that take place beyond the public eye. We've explored the lesser publicized objectives of the forum and how they may align or diverge from their public goals. We've seen how the decisions made at Davos can ripple out to influence global strategies in economics, technology, and the environment. We've also confronted the criticisms the WEF faces, including allegations of elitism and lack of transparency, and how these affect its legitimacy and public perception. We've pondered on the role of the WEF in global governance and whether it truly benefits the many or just the few. We invite you to share your thoughts and engage in further discussion on this topic. Thank you for joining us at the Cryptic Mystic Vault.